3,000 feet beneath the surface of the Antarctic Ocean, a remotely operated vehicle descends through absolute darkness. Its cameras pan across an endless void where no sunlight has ever reached. The pilot adjusts the floodlights, and then, from the blackness, something massive emerges. A billowing curtain of deep crimson moving through the water with the slow, deliberate grace of a ghost drifting through a haunted house. Its body stretches wider than a grown man is tall. Behind it, 4 ribbon-like arms trail into the darkness, undulating gently, extending more than 30 feet into the void. For a moment, no one on the research vessel speaks. They are watching something that fewer than 150 humans have ever witnessed in the wild. This is Stygiomedusa gigantea, the giant phantom jellyfish, and we know almost nothing about it. The name itself sounds like something from mythology. Stygiomedusa, derived from the river Styx, the legendary boundary between Earth and the underworld in Greek mythology, and gigantea, meaning giant. The name describes exactly what this creature is: a massive being from the realm of the dead, a phantom that haunts the darkest waters on Earth. Scientists first encountered this species in 1899, when a specimen was accidentally captured in fishing nets. But it wasn't until 60 years later that researchers even recognized it as a new species. For more than a century, the giant phantom jellyfish has remained one of the ocean's most elusive mysteries, appearing only rarely like a vision from another world. To understand why this creature is so extraordinary, we must first understand the world it comes from. The giant phantom jellyfish lives in what oceanographers call the midnight zone, also known as the bathypelagic layer. This realm begins approximately 1,000 meters below the ocean surface and extends to depths of 4,000 meters. Here, the conditions are so extreme that they would kill most life forms within seconds. The pressure at these depths ranges from 100 to 400 times greater than at sea level. If you were to descend unprotected to where the giant phantom jellyfish lives, your body would be crushed like an aluminum can. The temperature hovers just above freezing, a perpetual near-zero chill that never varies, never warms, never changes. And there is no light. None. The sun's rays cannot penetrate this far into the ocean. The midnight zone exists in permanent absolute darkness. Imagine for a moment what this environment feels like. Picture yourself standing in a room so dark that you cannot see your own hand in front of your face. Now imagine that room extends in every direction for thousands of miles. There are no walls, no floor that you can see, no ceiling above you. You are suspended in an infinite void of black water, cold beyond comprehension, pressing against you from all sides with unimaginable force. This is the world of the giant phantom jellyfish. And yet, against all odds, life thrives here. The creature itself is a masterpiece of deep-sea evolution. Its bell, the dome-shaped body that propels it through the water, can grow to more than 1 meter across, roughly the size of a car tire. But it's the arms that truly set this animal apart. Unlike most jellyfish, which have numerous thin tentacles covered in stinging cells, the giant phantom jellyfish has only 4 arms. These ribbon-like appendages can extend more than 10 meters, trailing behind the creature like the train of a spectral wedding gown. Some researchers have described them as paddle-like, others as curtains or veils. When the jellyfish moves, these arms ripple and flow with an almost hypnotic quality, catching whatever microscopic currents exist in the deep. The coloration of the giant phantom jellyfish tells its own story of survival. In the shallow ocean where light penetrates, red appears as a vivid, striking color, but in the midnight zone, red wavelengths of light cannot penetrate. At these depths, red essentially becomes invisible. The giant phantom jellyfish, with its deep crimson to dark purple body, is effectively camouflaged in its own environment. It moves through the darkness as a shadow within shadows, undetectable to most predators. Even when the jellyfish emits its faint bioluminescent glow, an orange-red light produced through chemical reactions within its body. The light barely travels in an environment where such wavelengths cannot propagate. The creature has evolved to be a ghost in the truest sense. But how did such a remarkable organism come to exist? To answer this question, we must travel back in time, not thousands of years, not millions, but hundreds of millions of years, to an era when the Earth itself was almost unrecognizable. Jellyfish are among the oldest complex animals on our planet. They belong to the phylum Cnidaria, a group that also includes corals and sea anemones. Fossil evidence suggests that cnidarians first appeared during the Precambrian era more than 600 million years ago, before the famous Cambrian explosion that gave rise to most modern animal groups. The Precambrian oceans were alien worlds dominated by simple organisms, bacteria, mats, and strange soft-bodied creatures that left only faint impressions in ancient rock. But among them were the ancestors of today's jellyfish, pulsing through primordial waters, already recognizable in their basic form. By the Cambrian period, roughly 500 million years ago, jellyfish had already evolved their complex life cycles and distinctive body structures. Fossils discovered in the Burgess Shale of British Columbia, Canada, reveal jellyfish that would look remarkably familiar to modern eyes, complete with bell-shaped bodies and trailing tentacles. These ancient jellyfish were among the largest predators in Cambrian seas, hunting in waters that teemed with strange armored arthropods and early vertebrates. While countless species rose and fell during the mass extinctions that punctuated Earth's history, jellyfish endured. They survived the Great Dying at the end of the Permian period, which wiped out more than 90% of marine species. They survived the asteroid impact that ended the reign of the dinosaurs. They have outlasted empires of life that dominated the oceans for millions of years. The giant phantom jellyfish represents a branch of this ancient lineage that descended into the deep ocean, adapting over countless generations to the crushing pressure and eternal darkness. While we cannot pinpoint exactly when this species or its immediate ancestors made this transition, we know that the deep ocean has served as a refuge for ancient life forms. The conditions there change slowly, if at all. The environment that existed 100 million years ago in the Midnight Zone is essentially the same as it is today. Species that successfully colonized this realm found a stable if harsh sanctuary. How does the giant phantom jellyfish hunt in a world without light? Without the stinging tentacles that most jellyfish use to paralyze prey, it has evolved a different strategy. Those long, flowing arms serve as both nets and conveyor belts. As the jellyfish drifts through the water column, its arms spread wide, creating a living curtain that intercepts small fish and zooplankton. When prey makes contact with these arms, it becomes ensnared in the sticky, mucus-covered tissue. The jellyfish then slowly contracts its arms, drawing the captured food toward its mouth. Located at the center of its bell, it is a patient, energy-efficient method of hunting, perfectly suited to an environment where food is scarce and every calorie counts. The giant phantom jellyfish is not entirely alone in the abyss. Scientists have discovered something remarkable about this creature. It participates in one of the few known symbiotic relationships documented at these extreme depths. A small fish, called the pelagic brochula, Thalassobathia pelagica, has been repeatedly observed living alongside giant phantom jellyfish. In the Midnight Zone, where there is nowhere to hide, no coral reefs, no kelp forests, no rocky outcrops, the massive bell of the jellyfish provides rare shelter. The small fish tucks itself beneath the dome, protected from predators by the jellyfish's size and perhaps by the curtain of arms that surrounds it. In return, scientists believe the fish may remove parasites from its host. This relationship was first confirmed in 2003 by researchers from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, who captured video of the two species swimming together in the Sea of Cortez. Even when separated, the brochula appears able to relocate its jellyfish partner, likely by detecting the low-frequency vibrations created by the pulsing bell. The reproduction of the giant phantom jellyfish remains largely mysterious, but what scientists have observed challenges our assumptions about jellyfish life cycles. Most jellyfish alternate between two distinct life stages: a stationary polyp phase attached to the seafloor or other surfaces, and a free-swimming medusa phase, the form we typically recognize as a jellyfish. But the giant phantom jellyfish appears to be viviparous, meaning it gives birth to live young. Juveniles develop inside the protective dome of the mother's bell, eventually detaching and swimming out through her mouth as fully formed, miniature versions of the adult. In an environment where finding a mate is nearly impossible due to the vast distances and sparse populations, this reproductive strategy may offer crucial advantages. Despite the giant phantom jellyfish likely being common throughout the world's oceans, humans have barely glimpsed it. Since its discovery in 1899, There have been only approximately 150 documented sightings. The Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, which has logged thousands of deep-sea dives over decades, has encountered this species only a handful of times. Each sighting is an event, a moment that makes researchers pause in wonder. In recent years, tourism expeditions offering submersible dives in Antarctica have contributed new observations. Between 2022 and 2023, multiple giant phantom jellyfish were spotted at relatively shallow depths of between 260 and 900 feet, far higher in the water column than expected. Scientists believe that in polar regions, where seasonal variations affect prey availability, these jellyfish may venture closer to the surface. These sightings are reshaping our understanding of the species. We once believed the giant phantom jellyfish was restricted to the deepest reaches of the ocean, but now we know its range extends from the twilight zone to depths exceeding 22,000 feet. It has been documented in nearly every ocean except the Arctic, from the waters off California to the coasts of Europe, Africa, India, and New Zealand. Distribution maps show sightings concentrated in the Southern Ocean, but this may simply reflect where researchers have looked most intensively. The true range of this creature likely encompasses far more of our planet's underwater realm than we have yet discovered. What does the existence of the giant phantom jellyfish mean for science? In many ways, it represents everything we still don't know about our own planet. The deep ocean covers more than 60% of Earth's surface, yet we have explored less of it than we have of the moon's surface. Every submersible dive reveals new species, new behaviors, new mysteries. The giant phantom jellyfish, with its size, its beauty, and its elusiveness, has become a symbol of this unexplored frontier. It reminds us that there are still dragons in the deep, creatures of such strangeness and magnificence that they seem more like mythology than biology. There are questions we may never answer. How long does a giant phantom jellyfish live? We simply don't know. Some jellyfish species are essentially immortal, capable of reverting to earlier life stages when stressed. Others live for only a few years. The lifespan of Stygiomedusa gigantea remains unknown. How do they navigate in total darkness? Their sensory capabilities are poorly understood. How do they find mates across the vast emptiness of the midnight zone? The mechanics of their reproduction remain largely theoretical. Each question leads to another, a branching tree of mysteries that extends deeper into the darkness. The deep ocean is changing even as we struggle to understand it. Climate change is altering temperature patterns, oxygen levels, and the distribution of prey species. Microplastics have been found at the deepest points on Earth, in the sediments of ocean trenches. Deep-sea mining threatens to disturb ecosystems that have remained stable for millions of years. The giant phantom jellyfish, having survived since before the dinosaurs, now faces a world transforming at unprecedented speed. Whether this ancient lineage can adapt remains uncertain. We may lose species we have never even discovered. Picture one final time what it must be like to encounter this creature in the wild. You are inside a submersible, a small sphere of metal and glass, suspended in absolute darkness 3,000 feet below the waves. The only light comes from your vessel's flood's twin beams that penetrate perhaps 50 feet into the void before dissolving into nothing. Your instruments tell you the temperature outside is barely above freezing. The pressure would kill you instantly if the hull failed. And then drifting out of the darkness comes a shape. At first you think it might be a trick of the light, a reflection, an artifact of tired eyes straining against the black. But it grows larger, a dome of deep crimson pulsing, gently propelling itself with slow, ancient purpose. Behind it, forearms trail like ribbons of blood, extending into the darkness beyond your lights, so long you cannot see where they end. The creature moves past your window with dreamlike slowness, utterly indifferent to your presence. It was here before humanity existed. It will likely be here long after we are gone. You are not observing it. You are being granted a momentary glimpse into a world that belongs entirely to itself. The giant phantom jellyfish does not hunt us, does not threaten us, asks nothing of us. It simply exists, drifting through the midnight zone, as it has for millions of years. a living reminder that the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than we often imagine. Scientists will continue to study it to follow its slow journeys through the deep to piece together the fragments of its mysterious life. But perhaps the greatest gift this creature offers is not knowledge, but humility. In its presence, we are reminded how little we truly understand about the world beneath the waves, how much wonder remains to be discovered, and how much of our planet exists in realms we may never fully know. The lights of the submersible fade as it begins its ascent. The giant phantom jellyfish drifts onward, its crimson form dissolving back into the darkness from which it emerged. And in the silence of the deep, the ancient dance continues, as it has for 500 million years, as it will for ages yet to come.